Alrighty, hey, hello everyone, how's it going? It's Richard, and today I just came up with the topic of how our childhood shapes who we are. So I don't know, I guess today's gonna be a little bit more of a fun, chill day. Let's talk a little bit about our upbringing, our childhood, what it was like, and I don't know, maybe just learn a little bit about what it's like to be each one of us, just how we grew up. Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. I'm having some pretty bad connection right now. All right. Please forgive me. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh, goodness. This. All right. Cool. We're good. We're alive. Sorry about that. I had some connection issues. Rich Del Fuente, hey, good to see you on. And how's it going tonight? Tonight it's going great for me. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Ahmed, good to see you on as well. Thank you so much for hopping on as always. I appreciate you a lot. So again, today we're gonna have a more of a fun conversation today, and I just want to focus on, what was our childhoods like? When I say childhoods, like I'm asking you too. Like I would love some, participation, engagement. Goodness, my connection is apparently very bad. I don't know what's up with that. I'm a little confused. Probably because I'm uploading some backup videos at the same time. So anyway, oh goodness. So let's see, structure of today's live. I'll share a little bit about my childhood and what it was like growing up as Richard. And, I'll draw some kind of like things, how it made me who I am today. Oh goodness, I see it's like just flashing very bad connection. Okay, let's roll with it anyway. So, as I'm sharing my story, I would like you to do two different things. Number one is I like to kind of think. I would like for you to think about, what is your story? What was life like for you growing up, and how did that affect who you are today? What are those key moments of your childhood that you kind of remember, and you kind of feel like that's what made you who you are today. All right. So, oh goodness, this is interesting. So I guess what I'll do today is, one thing that I do a lot is when I go to schools, I share my story. And so I've shared my story over 150 times now at, a lot of different schools. So I guess in a way, I'll give you the condensed version of what my life is like growing up. And you can kind of just hear another story. All right, so I hope that's cool with you. Let me know if I'm boring you. Let me know if you want to change the topic. I'm perfectly okay with free flowing. Let's chill and have fun today, okay? So for me, I grew up here in Orange County, California, and that's south of Los Angeles. We'll say about an hour south of Los Angeles, and I grew up in I would say a middle-class neighborhood. We weren't rich, we weren't poor. But, from my perspective, I always grew up with this mentality that we were poor, that we had no money. And it's because, like my parents were very, very frugal. Like they never let us spend any money. It was all about saving. It was all about like, oh, we don't have money, we can't buy that. But really, I believe what it was more scarcity. It was more being afraid to not have money, so we've always grown up saving a lot of money. Let's see, both my parents immigrated from Taiwan, and what else? They work really hard in their jewelry business to kind of, I guess you can say, put food on the table, things like that. Oh goodness, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with this. I will say my mom was the head of the household. She was the one who made sure that all the bills were being paid, that we were making enough money, that that we're doing well in school. She was a little bit of a tiger mom. She had very high expectations for all three of her children growing up. She wanted to make sure that we were doing really well, that we were getting straight A's, and she wanted us to probably be a doctor or a lawyer. Something that was like a good job that would make lots of money. So because that's what she felt was our version of happiness. Ahmed, thanks for chiming in, giving your your thumb of approval. That sounds weird. So yeah, that was my mom. Lisa, good to see you on. Welcome. Sharing about my childhood, and I love to hear a little bit about all of yours. You know, what are some key moments in your life? For me, I'm going to talk a little bit about my brother and sister. So my sister, who's the oldest, she's 4 years older than me. Her name's Michelle. She was the overachiever in the family. She's the one who always was top of the class. You know, graduated. One of the top students in her class, and just got straight A's. My brother Kevin was growing up. I perceived him as he was my biggest role model growing up. He was, to me, was a very well-rounded person. He not only was very smart, he did really well in school. He finished his homework quick. He made $2,000 selling Pokemon cards to his classmates in the 7th grade. What else about my brother? He broke league records in swim, so he's one of the fastest swimmers for his age group. And he was kind of a class clown. He was funny, charismatic. So I kind of saw him as like this rock star, like this person who's in my eyes perfect, and I wanted to be like him. And throughout my whole life, I spent my whole life trying to be like my older brother and sister. You know, trying to catch up to their standard, trying to get those straight A's, which I never did. Another thing is I tried really hard to, I don't know how to say this. It's like, so not only be as smart as they were, but to also, like, I always compare myself with my body weight as well. For me, you know, I was the chubby person in our family. My brother and sister, they were both very fit, athletic, and they all, in my opinion, like, I always wish I had a body that looked like theirs. I remember growing up, I was in swim, you know, so I had to wear a Speedo, but I was super self-conscious, and like I remember like I would always want to cover up my body when I went swim, you know, like I would always try to like cover myself up before until I had to get up on the diving block to dive into the water. And I remember like taking photos. I would wrap a towel around me because I didn't want people to see the rolls that I had. Another random little thought that I had was I remember every single time I took a shower, I used to feel so guilty because I felt like I was so fat that I was wasting so much body wash, shampoo. We just use shampoo for everything. So I felt like I was using twice as much shampoo as everyone else because I was fat. Does that make sense? Like, it's funny just thinking about these things. But the point is, like, I was very hypercritical of myself, and I had very low self-esteem growing up. It didn't help that my brother and sister always picked on me. You know, it was always the older two siblings versus the younger one. And I always felt very left out of all their jokes that they were making. And let's see, I want to fast forward a little bit to middle school. So I had all these little moments in my life where I just felt very insecure. And let's see, they started, oh goodness, I'm literally giving you my school presentation. Like when I go to schools, like this is pretty much what I share with a lot of the students. So the analogy I use is like it's a bucket of rocks. So I feel like I should just go grab my bucket of rocks and show you, but I will not in this case. So I have like this bucket, right? And each one of these moments, each one of these stories that I have, like my brother and sister always making fun of me feeling left out, makes it so I feel like I'm not, I'm not good enough to be included in this whole conversation. So, I would add the rock into the bucket, and when you hold out a whole bucket of rocks for a long time, it starts to get really heavy. Like maybe you can hold it for 1 or 2 minutes, but after let's say 5-10 minutes, it gets really, really heavy. And I think for us, those rocks represent the insecurities that we have in our life. So the more we hold on to these rocks, the more heavier this weight that we carry around is through our life. The problem is when we were young, I believe we lack the awareness and the understanding of how do we deal with all these insecurities and how do we let them go. We just feel like they are a part of who we are. So I want to fast forward a little bit to 7th grade. When I was in the 7th grade, I remember it was the end of the school year. I got my report card. My mom saw my report card and she pretty much just she freaked out. Like she was like, "Richard, what is this? How did you hold on, I got to give some context again. Remember, my brother and sister got straight A's throughout all of grade school. I did not. But nobody up until this point has ever failed a class. Anyway, so I get the report card. My mom looks at it. She looks at me. She's like, Richard, how'd you get this F? And I'm just like standing there like, I don't know. I don't know. I tried my best. And she just looked at me. She's like, Richard, really? You try your best? You failed this class. What do you mean you tried? What do you mean you tried your best? You know, like you didn't even get a D. You know, your brother and sister are getting straight A's, and you failed this class. You failed this class, you're gonna be behind. And, what's funny, like I'm talking in a very calm way, but what was really going on was she was yelling at me. She was hitting me. You know, for my Latino friends out there, chancla. You know, the magical tool that parents love to use to beat their kids with. Fly swatter, you know, hand, whatever it is, pulling my hair, like just like yelling at me, like super disappointed. And I remember I was just crying. I was just crying like so much. I felt so disappointed in myself. I'm like, I'm such a failure. I'm so stupid. And this is just who I am. You know, like I can't change that part of me. You know, I got an F, not because I wasn't trying. It's just, I didn't know how to get a better grade. Like I was struggling so much. And I remember in that moment, there was like this little bit of a vibe. She didn't say it directly, but I could tell she was so frustrated with me that there's a part of me that felt like she would just want to like disown me, you know, like she still loved me, but I think she was just so frustrated with me that she didn't want me as her kid anymore. Like it was, I just felt so guilty in that moment. And on top of that, I had to repeat the same pre-algebra class. I was the only person in my whole entire class who failed the class and had to repeat it. So all my friends, classmates went on to the next level. I repeated the same 7th grade math class as an 8th grader with a room full of 7th graders. So to me, that was kind of, you know, demoralizing and made me feel very stupid, you know, made me feel very inadequate. So going back to the bucket, you know, the rocks, adding more rocks into this bucket, the rocks, the weights of insecurities that we have in our lives. So that's what I had right there. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. By the way, if you're just tuning in, let's see. If you're just tuning in, I'm sharing a little bit about like my life story and how it shaped who I am, and I'd love to hear about yours as well as I go through this. And a little fun fact is, literally the story I'm sharing with you is a slightly abbreviated version of what I share with the students when I present at schools. So, you know, I figured, I don't know, I've never shared my story like this before. I've shared it in other contexts, but hey, might as well share it. So that was 7th grade. Again, in my head, these little moments, here's my bucket, and we got these huge rocks that I'm carrying around. These are my insecurities, you know, like I almost like embrace, like not even embrace them, just like, I just hold on to all these insecurities because I feel like that's who I am. I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm not good enough, and all this weight I just bring around with me. It's like just carrying it, like, yeah, let's bring this weight around. So, again, I have this huge burden of feeling all these insecurities, but I don't know what to do with them, so I bring them. I think a lot of us do this, by the way. We carry them with us throughout our lives. And I'm going to fast forward into the 10th grade. So in the 10th grade, sophomore year in high school, I was still kind of looking for my group of friends. And, you know, I felt a little bit out of place. I didn't feel like I had a group of friends. I felt like I was very, how do I say this? I didn't belong anywhere. But over time, the more I kind of looked around, I eventually found a group of friends. Now, I started hanging out with these people, and these people ended up becoming my best friends. I later figured out that I had a lot of classes with them, and let's see, we used to hang out pretty much at least 6 out of 7 days every single week. And over time, I formed this really, 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 really big crush on my best friend. But I was very shy, so I never shared any part of that with her or any of my friends. And what else do I have here? So I was massively obsessed with her. Like I was very, like just like a high school kid. Like literally, I was massively obsessed, infatuated. She was the most beautiful creature in this whole entire world. Like everything about her blew my mind. The way she walked, the way she talked, the way she dressed, the way she just stood there and did nothing. The way, like everything about her. Like I was so obsessed with her. But I was really shy. I didn't share any of this information. Uh, let's see. Long story short is, how do I say this? So I hid all my feelings, but eventually one day she found out that I liked her. And when she found out that I liked her, I feel like things got really awkward between us. This is my best friend that I used to talk to every single day. In my presentations, I call her Stacy. So we're gonna go with Stacy. So Stacy stopped talking to me, like regularly, and it got really, really awkward for a few months. And this, she's my best friend still. But at this point, I'm just like, okay, this is really weird. Like my best friend Stacy won't even talk to me. Like what's going on with that? It must be because I am such a loser. I'm not good enough that my best friend won't talk to me because I like her. And I mean, these are all the stories that came into my head, and I couldn't help but like just feel like I was super inadequate. Again, my bucket, I'm gonna do this. My bucket of rocks, those insecurities that I continue to hold, they start weighing down on me. And all of those build up onto the story of Richard, you're not good enough. No one likes you. You're never going to have a girlfriend. That's just who you are. So I had all these stories, and yeah, I felt really inadequate. Like I got rejected by my best friend. So that was the most depressed. Sophomore year was one of the most depressing years of my whole entire life. Just getting rejected like that, and I was so devastated. I was just like, I don't know what to do with my life. Life is so pointless. I'm so sad. And next year, what's interesting is my junior year in high school, I ended up, getting together with my girlfriend at the time, and like I don't know how to say this. Like she was such an incredible girlfriend. Like super supportive, like super kind-hearted, like everything I could ask for. And what's really interesting is in relationships, it's almost like it doesn't matter if you find the best person in the whole entire world. If you're not ready for it, it's not going to work out. And what I mean by this is when I went into this relationship with my girlfriend, like she was absolutely incredible. Like I had such a great relationship with her. The only problem was, or the main problem I believe was I was massively insecure about myself. I didn't feel like I was worthy of her. I felt like she was this goddess. Like she was this perfect being, and I was so excited to be with her that I couldn't help but for myself notice all these insecurities that I held. I just felt like she's so smart, she's so cute, she's so intelligent, and I don't deserve her. She's going to surpass me, and like outgrow me in a way. And it hurt. It hurt. Like I'm surprised our relationship lasted 3 years. We had a great relationship. By the way, she's still one of my best friends today, and super happy for her. We learned to be friends. That's funny because she just messaged me right now. Funny. Anyway, so that'd be funny if she's watching this right now. Yeah, so I graduated from high school. I had a bunch of these insecurities and that I still kept carrying around. I compared myself with my brother and sister. They both went to UCLA, graduated, top 10, top 15, like top of the whole entire school. As for myself, I didn't graduate top of the class. I graduated top 250. Yeah. So, I mean, I tried hard. It's not like I was a slacker. I did all my homework. I never missed a homework assignment. I always pushed myself to do as good of a job as I could. I just really sucked at school, compared to my brother and sister. Anyway, I didn't get to UCLA. I went to UC Riverside, which was what my family calls UC Rejects, UC Rejects. It's a great school, But just back in the day, we had such high expectations that I felt like I was very much a failure. I felt like I couldn't get to UCLA, therefore I'm not good enough, I'm not smart, and I would never really amount to much. Like that was the feeling that I had throughout my whole entire life. By the way, thank you for your comments. I see them coming through. I'm going to finish my story and then I'll get to your comments. That way the flow keeps going. So I get into UC Riverside. Let's see, my grades. So again, in high school, middle school, elementary school, I never ever got straight A's. I always had like B's, C's, D's, and F's. I just never got straight A's. Once I got into college, I started getting straight A's. My whole first year, I surprised myself. I got straight A's. And I was like, what? How is that possible? And guess what? Even though I got straight A's, the voice in my head was saying, Richard, you just got lucky. You didn't deserve straight A's. You barely got the A minus. And guess what? Your classes were easy. So, if you went to UCLA like your brother and sister, you'd probably be failing. No, hold on. Let me rephrase that. My thought process when I got into UC Riverside, literally, like I had no question or doubt in my mind that if I went to UCLA like my brother and sister, I'd be failing my classes because I felt like I was too stupid to be at UCLA. So that was my mindset at UCR, or sorry, yeah, when I was at UCR, when I was at university. And so I kept carrying around this weight with me, all these insecurities that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm chubby, no one's ever going to want to date me, I'm all that crap, and I brought it with me throughout my life. And then on my fourth and final year at UC Riverside, I had an internship with a life coach. His name is Coach Paul, and at this point, I've been the one thing I did have going, if nothing was going for me in my life, the one thing that was going for me in my life was that I was very, very involved with extracurricular activities. That's the one area of my life that I quote unquote dominated. Like in high school, I was a lieutenant governor, distinguished lieutenant governor. So I did very well there. I was a building president, so a president of a whole entire residence hall at my like a residence hall of over 1,000 students at UC Riverside. I was a resident advisor, so I was very, very involved. So I knew that I was passionate about leadership and I was passionate about like helping people, in some coaching role. So interning for a life coach was super cool. So getting to the point of the story, my boss didn't show up for 2 weeks. I was confused. His assistant told me, "Hey, Richard, do what you were told to do." And after 2 weeks, my boss comes into the office, Coach Paul, and I remember asking him very clearly. I was like, "Hey, Coach Paul, can I talk to you?" And he's like, "Yes, Richard. How can I help you?" Hey, you haven't been here for 2 weeks. I was just wondering, am I doing my job right? And Coach Paul looks at me. He's like, "Richard, of course you're doing your job right. If you weren't doing your job right, I would let you know 2 weeks ago. You're a pretty smart guy." And in that moment, I just remember, I'm like, okay, thanks. And Coach Paul looks at me again. He's like, "Richard, do you really think you're not a smart guy? If you weren't a smart guy, I wouldn't have hired you." And again, I'm like, okay, thanks. And I remember it was the end of the day, and I couldn't help but think in my mind as I drove back home to school. I was thinking in my mind, I'm like, why is Coach Paul telling me that I'm a smart guy? Coach Paul is someone that has a lot of integrity. I know he wouldn't lie to me. But why is he telling me I'm a smart guy? I didn't make it into UCLA. I failed my pre-algebra class. I failed it. I had to repeat it. I was the only one in the whole entire class who repeated that class twice. I took statistics 4 times. And again, I didn't make it into UCLA. I'm at UCR. And you're telling me I'm a smart guy. Why? So that moment got me thinking, especially the second thing he said, which was, if you weren't a smart guy, if you weren't a smart guy, why would I have hired you? You know, that little thought came to my mind. I'm like, he's right. Like, why would he waste his money, you know, if like hiring me if he didn't believe in me? You know, that's a waste of money. Honestly, I remember when I was working there, I felt so guilty and bad. I'm like, what value do I have here? Like, what am I providing here? I just feel like I'm just taking money. So I felt worthless. You know, that's how I felt. Anyway, long story short is in that moment when I worked at that job and he told me that I'm a smart guy and he believed in me, that was like the beginning of the turning point for me to start thinking and shifting my mindset. You know, all those insecurities that I've been, you know, carrying. I'm going to do this. Like all those insecurities, these rocks, this heavy weight I've been carrying. That was kind of like the beginning of the moment where I started being able to lift this insecurity, this weight off my shoulders. And from there, it still took many years. That's when I was 21 at that time. And I worked in corporate entertainment. I worked at Sony Pictures. I worked at NBC Universal for 2.5 years. And in that time, you know, there were jobs just to make money. Like I wasn't really passionate about it. I tried to make the most of it. It was fun, but it was also very monotonous. And at the end of the day, really, it sucked the soul out of me. Like I was not passionate about it. And it just, I couldn't do it. So anyway, after 2.5 years, I ended up being let go. And that was the moment in my life where I made a decision. I'm like, you know what? I'm quitting this whole 9-to-5 lifestyle and I'm going to start my own business. So that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago when I quit, you know, the 9-to-5 life. And I decided, you know what? I want to do what I want to do, you know I want to help people. So I want to do life coaching. And then I'm like, wait, if I help people with life coaching, that's one-on-one. How do I impact more people at a time? And that gave me the idea of, how about public speaking, like inspirational speaker or something like that. So I'm like, well, there's a few problems here. Number one, I don't know how to coach people. Number two, I don't know how to speak. Number three, I don't even know what I'm talking about. And number four, I don't know my audience. And number five, especially, is how do I help other people when I don't even know how to help myself? I was so insecure in, January 2014. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I legit don't know what I'm doing. Excuse me. Go. Sorry. We're having a little bit of connection problem on Facebook right now. Let's see here. Go. Oh, that's unfortunate. All right. Sorry for the break. All right. We are having some problems here. I don't want to stall, but this is very unfortunate that Wi-Fi is not working well. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll finish up my story in a second once we get reconnected on Facebook, YouTube, my friends. YouTube's the mains. So I'll answer questions on YouTube, okay? For my friends on YouTube. Let's see. Lisa says, good to know about your siblings. You're going to be the best too. Seriously, holding onto something bad is like carrying a big sack wherever we are going. With time, we realize let go, let flow is awesome. Limo, you're honestly a great person. I wish there was more of you. Lisa says, thank you, by the way. Lisa says, I named my nephew Stacy. Nice. We sometimes put our crushes on a pedestal, which creates the problems. Yes. Richard says, did you get good grades in college? Yes, I did. And then Lisa says, heavy weights of insecurities versus light weights of encouragement. The latter wins. Alrighty. So, oh goodness. Yeah, I don't know what's up with, I legit don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it's, my Wi-Fi is dead. All right. Anyway, I'm going to continue my story, unfortunately. So before I do, I just want to check. Okay. So my internet is working. I don't know why the video is not working. Trying to reconnect. Failed to reconnect? What? All right. That sucks. All right. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Facebook died on me, so there's not much we can do there. It's literally, it is what it is. All right, cool. So I'm going to finish up the story. You know what? I'll do another live. That's what I'll do. Sorry, YouTube, my YouTube fans, YouTube fam. Alrighty. Hold on, give me one second, and we are gonna get going here. 3, 2, 1. All right, we are back on. For anyone who's on Facebook, sorry for I had some connection problems, so we're gonna leave off. If you're just watching this or you just found this, be sure to watch the first video because that explains the first part of my story. And now I'm going to continue back on the rest of my story. So where we left off was we were talking for anyone who's on right now live. We left off at the part of kind of like I was working at a job. Oh, and then I quit my job, and then I started my own business. But I talked about 5 reasons why I was struggling to start up my business. Number 1, I didn't know how to life coach. Number 2, I didn't know how to speak. Number 3, let's see, I don't remember what else were the other ones. But the main point was I had a lot of insecurities that I was holding around, and I had to figure out how to address those insecurities before I could help other people. So that's when I started doing a lot of personal development. I didn't even know about what the heck personal development was until recently. Like 2014, 2012. 2012 is when I was first introduced. 2014 is when I started getting more serious into personal development. So I started breaking through my insecurities slowly by slowly. I did a transformational training, and that was what really broke a lot of my mental barriers. For example, so that whole conversation of Richard, you're fat. I had my whole entire life, I felt like I was super chubby. Again, I wasn't even that fat. Like for most of my life, I weighed about 180, 185, which is overweight, but like I'm not super fat. I'm just overweight. But in my mind, I'm super fat to the point where I felt so guilty that I was wasting shampoo because I felt so fat that I had so much surface area that I needed more shampoo. Yes. So Facebook, sorry if my connection's bad. My internet is what it is right now. So let me see here. Pretty much those insecurities that I held throughout my whole entire life, I thought they were a part of me, but then I later realized that these are just the stories that I've been telling myself, and they're not necessarily true. I want to break down each one. I talked about being fat. At my peak, I weighed 210 pounds. And the more weight I lost, I ended up dropping from 210 all the way down to 147. That's about 60 pounds. And so I realized that I didn't have to be fat my whole entire life, that I could change that story. And it wasn't just the weight, but mentally, I realized that I've been really beating myself up this whole time. And really, I wasn't as fat as I thought I was. I just mentally felt like I was fat. So I was able to get rid of that weight, the insecurity that I was holding around, and it got lighter, so I felt a little bit better. But I still had a bunch of other insecurities, like what else? Another insecurity I had was that I'm not good enough. It's hold on. I'm going to hold off on the I'm not good enough for just a little bit. Another insecurity that I had was like, I'm not responsible. I can't make money. I'm not responsible enough to make money and to do something that I'm passionate about, and especially to start a business. I felt inadequate. But what I did know was when I quit my job, I had a lot of savings that would support me, and that I could because I just knew I didn't want to waste my life doing something that was sucking my soul away. So I ended up, using my savings to support me while I tried to figure out this whole passion project of life coaching and speaking. Eventually, I got training, I got certification in life coaching, and I also practiced speaking by making YouTube videos every single week since 2014. And as I went along, I started off life coaching, and then my focus turned into speaking. Like I realized that speaking for me was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the whole journey of it. By the way, again, Facebook people, I'm so sorry if it's super choppy and I keep disconnecting. My internet is having its challenges. But I'm going to move on. So Yes. In the past 3 years, of, building up my business, I realized my level of impact can only be as far as I grow as an individual. My level of impact can only be as strong as I'm willing to push myself past my own insecurities and my own limiting beliefs. So, like, I remember when I started speaking, I used to be so shy, so insecure. I'm like, nobody's gonna pay me. I don't feel like my story really matters. I don't feel like my message really matters. Like I'm not even confident in myself. I don't really love myself. And it took, those 3 years, more so like it took a lifetime, but hold on, reset. It did take 3 solid years for me to get to where I am today. In terms of people supporting me, people saying like, Richard, like you can do it, like you're such a great person. And in my mind, I'm like, you're just saying that, like you're just saying that because I'm beating myself up and you have sympathy towards me or whatever it is. And then the more people kept saying it, like, no, Richard, like seriously, like you have a lot of talent, like you can do it. The more people started saying it, and I kept being like, yeah, you're just saying that, whatever. Eventually, slowly by slowly, I was able to break that cycle, break that voice in my head that says, Richard, you're a loser, you can't do it, you're not good enough. And today, like my voice, my internal voice, we all have the positive voice and the negative voice. But today, the negative voice is still there. But I understand that I have a choice. I could listen to this voice or I could listen to this voice. And instead of saying this is positive, negative, I say it vision-driven, negative. So for me, I listen to my vision-driven voice. So of course that's also known as a positive voice, but vision-driven because I want to listen to the voice that says, Richard, you can achieve your vision. You can, not only you can, like I know you can. You are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. You are capable. It's just, are you willing to commit to stop listening to this voice? The one that's like sucking away all my energy, sucking away all my potential, and putting me down all the time. Are you willing to let go of listening to this POS, and continue to follow this positive voice? Constantly remind yourself that you are capable, that you can do it. And so literally as I'm going towards this 30 speaking gigs goal in the next 6 months by June 8th, 2018, it scares me. It scares me every single day. And it's winter break right now, so nobody's booking speakers in this moment. But once the school year starts again in like January, early January, it's like it's time to hustle. Like, let's do this. 30 speaking gigs, let's do it. We booked one, we got 29 more to go, and it's scary. It really is scary. I got to constantly fight the negative voice that's in my head. The one that's putting me down. The one that's like, Richard, no one's gonna book you. They don't know who you are. And you still got to practice your speaking and all this stuff. I've already done 150 speaking gigs and that voice is still in my head. So I don't know how to say this. It's like I know deep down inside there's always room for me to improve. And I get that. And I am constantly improving. And I'm going to continue to push myself to improve. But, at a certain time, like we get to honor ourselves. We get to accept ourselves that we are capable, that we can do it, and just run with it, believe in ourselves. So one really cool win for me today, this is a little bit, I don't know how to say it, this is a little bit more on the private side, but I'll make it public anyway. So I received a request today to be a wedding MC, not official, like no one directly contacted me, but I had an opportunity, and I'm part of this like gig booking website, and so someone sent me a lead and said, hey, do you want to MC your wedding for 30 minutes, 30 minutes, we'll pay you $100 to $150. The only catch is that the drive is an hour away. And my old self would have been like, heck yeah, sign me up, like easy money, like $100 for just, talking for 30 minutes, like driving there, drive back home. Yeah, let's do it. But when I looked at this gig, in my mind, I'm like, okay, number one, that sounds awesome. Like that sounds like a lot of fun. The only problem with me is I realize I value my time. I realize I don't want to drive, drive an hour, do 30 minutes of presentation, and then drive back home just for the sake of making $100 to $150. That's great money, cool. But what I do know is that I value my time. I know I'm going to enjoy it, but I know that my time is much better spent focusing on my passion, which is inspiring teens and young adults. It's focus on my topic of self-esteem. Weddings are great. They're such a positive experience. I've done them before, and I'm willing to do it again at a higher rate that is worth my time in a way. You could argue that I could be sitting at home and sleeping instead of making money. Which one's more worth it? Honestly, it's like, I'm not trying to be bougie here, but it's like, it's cool that I'm kind of in the space where like my mindset is focused. Like I trust myself enough to know that I'm going to be making money, booking speaking gigs, where I don't need to focus on kind of making ends meet of like, getting little jobs here, getting little jobs there. And no, how do I say this? No offense to anyone who is doing that. Like seriously, I'm not saying I'm better than you, anything like that. Like that is 100% not the case. Because guess what? I've been there. I've been in that position where, I had to like start selling things online to kind of pay for my food and whatever other expenses I had. Like I've been there, and it's a very humbling experience. And I guess in a way why I share this with you is like, I don't know how to say this. It's like when we start believing in ourselves, like life gets so much easier. Like when we start believing in ourselves, we start respecting ourselves. We start understanding that our time is valuable. So I'm looking forward to being able to book speaking gigs to not only pay for me keeping me alive, but also enjoy experiences, not have to stress so much about putting food on my own table to eat and feed myself, but also at the same time doing exactly what I love and what I'm passionate about, which is speaking, inspirational speaking towards middle school, high school students, conferences, things like that. So I'm definitely really, really grateful for that opportunity to be doing what I love doing, and get paid for it. Like that's such a blessing. That's such a gift. And if I'm being 100% real, like I don't know how to say this. Like I wish everyone could do that. I wish everyone could be doing what they're passionate about. And I wish everyone didn't settle until they found exactly what they're passionate about, and they did nothing but that. I think too many people, no offense, I know a lot of people on right now have jobs that maybe they're not fully passionate about. And, it's to pay the bills, it's to sustain a lifestyle, and, all respect, and if that's working for you, I'm happy for you. And, I'm not trying to put anyone down here. But in my opinion, I feel like life is a little bit too short to be doing something that we don't enjoy doing. So my request of you is that if you're in a job or you're in a position that's not making you happy, that does not make you feel fulfilled, my request of you is that you consider, like what will make you feel fulfilled in your life, and pursue that. Maybe you're in a job that you're not super passionate about, but it's giving you the financial freedom in order for you to do something that you're passionate about, which is perfectly okay, So I guess I'm just speaking to the ones that are feeling a little bit stuck, the ones that are kind of trapped where like, oh man, I don't like my job, and I don't like my life, stuff like that. Like keep moving forward. There's so many opportunities out there. And I'm going to highlight my friend Kimmy's story. I mentioned this several weeks ago on a live stream. She was on and I shared her story. I'm just going to share it one more time for anyone who's missed it. It's one of the most inspiring stories to me, and for me to be able to see her transformation firsthand was absolutely incredible. So my friend Kimmy was working 3 jobs. 2 jobs she hated. The third one was an internship that she kind of didn't like, and it wasn't being paid. So imagine working 3 jobs that you're not making a lot of money, you hate your job, you hate your life, and you wish you can quit all your jobs. So that was my friend Kimmy. fast forward, let's say 1 or 2 years later, you know, she makes the decision to start transforming her life. She makes the decision to quit her jobs, you know, one at a time. You know, she quit one and then she found another opportunity. She found an opportunity that, guess what? What did she do? I think she replaced like 2 jobs, or maybe all 3 of them, with one stable job that she still didn't like, but at least it was paying the bills. So one stable job was much better than doing 3 different jobs, because there was a lot of commuting and it was a huge hassle, way too many hours. So it got down to one job. She was like, meh, meh. And then she's like, you know what? She didn't have a lot of confidence in herself at this point. But eventually she pushed herself. You know, she took action with her life, and she turned that one job into, she quit the job and then got hired for Disney Interactive Studios, which is kind of a little bit of a dream company that she wanted to work for. So she got a job there. I think we'll call it an entry-level job there. And so now she's making even more money, and she's at a company she actually likes. But wait, there's more. Not only did she, goodness, not only did she get into her, quote-unquote, her dream company, but guess what? She got offered a promotion, and she rejected it. Why? Because she saw the value in herself. You know, just like how I rejected that $100 30-minute speech offer, I was like, you know, it's cool, but I could do better. Kimmy did the same thing. She got a promotion, and she didn't take it. Why? Because she's like, I could do better than that. I'm going to jump up the next level. I'm waiting for that position that VP of whatever, I don't remember what department, but that VP has an offer for me. And that's the job that I want. I want that thing that I'm aligned with, the thing that I'm actually passionate about. Like, that's what I want. So guess what? She got interviews with that. I haven't kept up to date, but from what I hear, she's on track to getting her one step closer to her dream job. You know, not just a promotion in a job that's entry level and she doesn't really care for, but her actual dream job. So from going from 3 jobs that she absolutely hated, that wanted to quit, that she wanted to give up, and she, if I'm being very frank, she gave me permission to talk about this. She wanted to kill herself, and she attempted to kill herself on the freeway. And now she's living like, you know, like a much more positive life where she actually enjoys. Like, I'm so inspired by her, you know, like that's such a great story. And yeah, so that's what happens when you continue to push through your challenges. Or that's something that could happen when we continue to push through our challenges. And even though we doubt ourselves, just know that we are capable, that you are capable of pushing through your challenges. And it is so possible. You know, when we stop listening to that negative voice that is pulling us down, those insecurities that we're holding on to, the ones that are like, you know, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you're not attractive enough, no one likes you, you're not going to be accepted, all those BS conversations that are Felicia, that negative voice, you know, by Felicia, is telling us. So we can listen to this one, or we can listen to this other one, which is the vision focus, the positive vision focused voice. The one that says, you know, you are capable. You are capable of accomplishing your whatever you set your mind to. And just keep focusing on this, you know, and that's going to get you to your goals. So one step at a time. That's what we got to do. Cupid, good to see you on. Let's see. Lamau, I did the same thing with a job offer once. I assume I'm guessing you mean that you rejected a job offer because you knew you deserved more, which is awesome. I love it. Ahmed says, by the way, I wrote my childhood experience in the previous live stream. Ahmed, I'm hoping, hold on, I'm going to check it. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, that one just randomly disconnected. I'm going to check my wall right now. Thank you for sharing that. I want to read it. Okay, sweet. I can see it right here. Alrighty. Hold on. Okay, cool. So that's my, I shared my story just now for anyone who's hopping on right now. Right now, I'm going to read Ahmed's story, what he wrote, and so people can hear it. Thank you for taking the time to write it out. I really appreciate it. And let's do this. Let's see how everything seems a little bit out of order. Okay, so Ahmed, I'm going to read his story out loud for anyone, so people could hear about it. And Ahmed, feel free to, if you didn't finish writing, or if you have little conclusions and, you know, interesting facts of where you are today, we would love to hear it. And let us know right now. Like, type it in the comments so I can read the the conclusion of your story if you haven't written the conclusion part of it. Okay, so everyone, this is Ahmed Haroon's story. So my childhood, well, in our case, a middle class family, but we initially lived in Middle East. A thing that shaped me very early was when we lived there, I was exposed to racism at an early age. I remember Arab children throwing stones at us because we were different. I felt left out. In grade school, and the story is very similar. Didn't do, so Ahmed's grade school was very similar to mine, where he didn't do very well, didn't get good grades, and he also got beaten by his mom. I wasn't a good achiever, says Ahmed. But in grade 7, something happened. So after an event where I wanted to play video games, but my mom said, no, you can't because you have to study. I started thinking, I said to myself, if I can get good grades, I can do as I please, right? Then voila, I started focusing on my grades, became the top achiever in my family. So no one problem solved my parents. So pretty much Ahmed's parents stopped bothering him. But something else happened. I got isolated from my siblings and they started ignoring me, and I kind of felt left out for being an overachiever. I know that's weird. Wow, powerful. Continuing on Ahmed's story, Ahmed says, in college and high school, my problem was not grades. It's everything else. In my case, my insecurities were I just do good, get good grades, but I'm terrible in other aspects. I am not assertive, not good with the opposite gender. I am a pathetic human being. That's what I thought in college. In my case, I considered I was dumb. I was a dumb guy who just got good grades, but pathetic as it... Wait, hold on. Okay. In my case, I considered I was a dumb guy who just got good grades, but pathetic as a human being in all aspects. It's interesting how insecurity expresses itself in many forms. Whoa, goodness, that share. Thank you for that. Wow, did y'all hear that? Like that's a awesome story right there. So let's recap Ahmed's story real quick. Ahmed, thank you again for sharing. Beautiful. So Ahmed pretty much talks about how at a younger age he felt stupid. His grades were bad, and his mom always scolded him, beat him. He dealt with racism, all that stuff. But the point is, in the 7th grade, Ahmed was like, "Wait, hold on. My mom is constantly yelling at me because I have bad grades. What if I improve my grades? That way she could stop yelling at me and I could play more video games." So that's when his mindset shifted, and he became an overachiever. He started getting really good grades in the 7th grade. That probably meant he was able to play more video games and things like that. But as a result, by getting better grades, Ahmed started getting isolated. His siblings started ignoring him, and I'm guessing more people in his life started ignoring him, and then Ahmed created other insecurities besides just being smart. His other insecurities might have been like, I suck at everything else. I'm not good with girls. I can't do this. I'm not very social. By the way, sorry if I'm projecting. I'm kind of guessing based off what I'm hearing you say, Ahmed. And he had all these other insecurities besides grades. And again, what Ahmed said was beautiful. I love how he said, like, it's interesting how our insecurities as human beings can come off in different ways. I 100% agree. Like, that's so interesting that, like, because for me, I would have died to be like, dude, you got straight A's. That's amazing. I wish I could have straight A's. But isn't it funny that even if you're valedictorian of your whole entire school, you could still feel insecure? Ahmed, I'm not saying you were valedictorian. You might have been, but I'm just saying in general. Like, imagine, like, for me, whenever I looked at the top performers in my whole entire school, I'm talking about Daniel O. Like, no one's gonna know these names. Daniel O, Eric Shea. Those were the 2 top students in my whole entire class. In my mind, I'm like, oh, these people are so amazing. They must be super confident and love themselves. But who knows? Maybe they're struggling with all these other insecurities. And honestly, I bet they were. Like, that's just what it's like to be a human being. Like, we're always very hypercritical on ourselves, or many of us are, at least. So, all right. What a cool conversation that we're having right now. I love this. This is so cool to hear about insecurities. And Ahmed, thank you again for sharing your story. It's so powerful, and like, seriously, it adds a lot. It gives me a lot of perspective to work with. So anyone else, I think we're kind of wrapping up this live stream right now. So if you want to share your story, we would love to hear it. Shoot me a message on Facebook, or you could email me at richard@richardquo.com. Share with us your story. If you want me to share it in the next live stream, I would love to. I love talking about insecurities. You know, like this is this is my passion, because insecurities is something that's been such a big part of my life. You know, it's obviously something that I'm working through. So yeah, it's like I love talking about it. You know, I love supporting people to embrace their insecurities, move forward from them, and that's why I love creating this content. You know, it's about like, how do we help each other move forward and freaking just love our lives, you know, like do things, love ourselves, and not in the cheesy way, but like really genuinely just be like, you know what, I'm freaking badass. Like I'm awesome, you know, I'm awesome because I choose to be, you know, I'm awesome because I realize I'm not my insecurities, you know, I'm not I'm not good enough, I'm chubby, I'm not attractive, I don't belong here, you know, I'm not responsible. That's not who we are. You know, those are the I'm going to use some foul language, like that's the shit that we tell ourselves. That's not true. You know, we are who we choose. We are who we choose to be. Or yeah, there we go. So I don't know. That's really exciting. So yeah, Cupid, Araceli, thank you so much for your always just being a part of this conversation and you know, supporting it. I love your energy all the time. Super positive and yeah, very, very engaged, and you just add a lot to this to the stream. Thank you. Ahmed says the interesting part, even if you are a top performer, you can be very insecure. Funny, right? Yeah. Let's see. I want to share. Do I want to share? Okay, I'll share another story. Little quick story. Okay, so I want to talk about my sister Michelle real quick. So when my sister was in the 8th grade, she took algebra. I failed the class, so I didn't take algebra. I took pre-algebra. But my sister took algebra in her 8th grade class, and they had this chart. It was a piece of paper, and it got updated like every single week in the school year. The paper was the top 10 students class ranking, number 1 through 10, and next to each rank was a person's name, and next to the person's name, it was how many math problems they missed in the whole entire school year up until that point. So I calculated there was probably about 1,000 math problems that we do on an annual basis in any math class. So that's my guess. You know, I was just reflecting on myself, and I'm like, I'm thinking about how many math problems did I miss when I was in pre-algebra. I probably missed at least 400 out of 1,000 questions. And I would have been super happy. I would have been like really like, yeah, let's do it, if I missed 100 out of 1,000 questions. And then I thought about my sister, you know, because I had the same math teacher as her, different class. She took algebra, I took pre-algebra. But whenever I look on the wall and I see my sister, I see her ranked number 1 and how she only missed 3 math problems in the whole entire school year. Every single homework assignment, every single test. And for me, like, I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's so incredible. And guess what? I'm sure in my sister's mind, I haven't asked her specifically about this, but I'm sure in my sister's mind, she's probably thinking 2 things. Number 1, she's probably like, okay, hey, look, I'm ranked number 1. That's pretty good. But just like Ahmed saying, guess what? Top achievers have their insecurities too. I bet my sister's also thinking, you know, like, mother effer, I missed 3 questions. I feel so inadequate. I should not have missed those 3 questions. She's probably beating herself up over those 3 questions. That's my guess. So to Ahmed's point, it's really interesting how, you know, top performers can also be very insecure too. I think as human beings, we just like to be insecure. And I don't know, it's like, it's funny, you know, this spiritual side, we always talk about abundance. And I almost feel like we have an overabundance of insecurity, you know? Like, we have so much insecurity in our lives as a society. It's like, where does all this insecurity come from? You know, it's almost like they just grow on trees. Insecurities grow on trees or something. It's like it's so easy to be insecure, and there's way too much insecurity in our society, and we get to improve ourselves and help other people improve and let go of their insecurities and just be like, screw those insecurities. Like stop thinking about them. You know, they're figments of our imagination, and we keep buying into that BS. All right, that's what I got. Ahmed says, yes, we are who we choose to be. Yes, sir. There we go. All right, cool. Great conversation. That was exactly 1 hour of good conversation. Let's see. Yeah. Let me know if you have any topic ideas for tomorrow. We will be live tomorrow again at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same time as always. Yeah, let me know what you want to talk about, because honestly, whenever I do a live stream, it literally is last minute. Like, I thought about this topic, how childhood shapes who we are, literally like 2 minutes before hitting start live stream. Like, that's how I roll. So I don't want to come unprepared. Sometimes I do. Please forgive me for that. I'm working on, being more organized so I could have good conversations with all of you. Today's conversation was a little bit of a cheat conversation because I've already practiced my storytelling over 150 times, probably 200, 300, something like that. So I know what I'm going to say. Tomorrow will be more improvised and fun times. But hey, either way, it's going to be good. All right, cool. Hey, everyone, thank you for tuning in. And I will see you tomorrow on at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same time as always. Yes, enjoy your evening for those in America. And for those not in America, enjoy your day or your morning. And yes, take care, everyone. All right. Thanks again for hopping on. Appreciate you all. Bye.